Obviously, having ridiculous amounts of sugars can put you at risk for some other things, and that's something you want to be aware of. But I don't think anyone's eating that much fruit that they're getting to that point. I know there's exceptions to every rule, but once again, I think people just like to demonize things quickly and really make simplifications of it and just say never have these things. Does fruit make you fat? I overheard a trainer telling his client you shouldn't eat any fruit. And it's funny because I've actually heard this myself. I've heard of some really funky trainers who cut out carrots. You can't have carrots. You can only have broccoli and like certain other vegetables they like. And this is just such a mistake because demonizing any food, like Kyle said, when the second I tell someone not to do something, even like with a toddler, I say, don't do this one thing. They're drawn to it. They want to do it. And with food, when we hyperfixate on certain foods and we're like, I'm never eating pizza again, but it's your favorite food, that's just so unrealistic and you're destined to fail. And it's just so silly making certain things as good and bad. And that's how, frankly, you'll develop an eating disorder. It's not going to be realistic. You're going to see success for a period of time. And then when you exit that program, you're going to gain that all back and or more. And perhaps that's something that's happened to you. So fruit by no means makes you fat. And a lot of people will think, this question's silly. Like, I think most people are aware it doesn't, but most people would agree that sugar will make you fat. And like, sugar doesn't even necessarily make you fat. I could easily have 300 grams of sugar a day and still maintain a very lean physique. Is that healthy for me? Absolutely not. I don't need to be having that much, but a reasonable amount of sugar in moderation is absolutely okay and it has a purpose. And for some people, athletes, they can absolutely get away with doing that. We mentioned DJ Metcalf and his candies. Sugar is just a very simple form of calories. And it's going to burn really quickly. So it's not going to sate you. You're going to run through it really quick. It's not going to have as much nutritional value as something with fiber and more micronutrients within it. And because of that, it's going to lead you to being more full. You're going to be able to eat more of it. It's going to sate you less. And usually that's going to put you in a caloric surplus. And that is what's going to cause you to gain fat. So it's a real big oversimplification to say don't eat fruit. I think fruit is phenomenal and has a lot of benefits. I'm obviously aware of how much I have of it because if I had endless amounts of fruit because it's sweet, because it has sugar, I would go over my calorie goals because like pineapple, I could easily eat 600 calories of pineapple, no issue at all. However, I would still rather someone do that than 600 calories of a chocolate bar, which is even more like just simple basic calories, more engineered to be even tastier and will sate you even less than that. At least fruit a lot of the time does have fiber. It will have other nutrients in it, vitamin C, D, all these great things. So fruit you can absolutely work in, and that's why in general we like the 80-20 rule. I would still bulk put this as part of your 80%, a reasonable amount of fruit. If you want to have an apple, some oranges, whatever. But if you want to get really exotic and have an excessive amount of fruit, that's where I'd start to look at it as more of like that 20% fun food because I'm having a further amount of it. And you just need to make sure it fits within your daily calorie goals. Are you still hitting your protein? Are you still hitting your calories? Are you eating within reason? And as long as you're doing that, it's not going to be the end of the world. Obviously, having ridiculous amounts of sugars can put you at risk for some other things, and that's something you want to be aware of. But I don't think anyone's eating that much fruit that they're getting to that point. I know there's exceptions to every rule, but once again, I think people just like to demonize things quickly and really make simplifications of it and just say never have these things. But in general, I think fruit is a much better option to dessert and it's something to appreciate. And I actually had a goal of just making that something I appreciate more because fruit is so good. It's really easy to a lot of the time to transfer around. And those are my thoughts there.
What I love about fruit is that it can be a great something that's a great alternative to those sweet tooth cravings that you may be having, right? You know, even just thinking of, obviously pineapple to me is my favorite. That's probably the one thing where I think I could definitely, like Josh was saying, like just have a lot more calories worth of. But I was thinking specifically of watermelon. You know, we have some in the fridge here, and it's a beautiful summer day sitting outside, it's like I would have to have an insane amount of watermelon to just go overboard on calories. But it just, instead of having, you know, a bit like just bag of Skittles, just say as an example, like it's just going to offer so many more nutritional benefits and it's going to be very hard to go over that calorie amount. But I would say if there's any trainer out there just saying these types of things, like just fire them. Like they should not be your trainer. Like there's unfortunately a lot of really, really bad advice. And like Josh was saying before, that's our biggest mission with this podcast is to be able to help you understand so there's no confusion when you go into the grocery store, when you go to eat, when you're in the gym, like you understand what's right and what's wrong. And this myth that a lot of people talk about, you know, fruit making you fat or these specific foods, like it's just not true at all. So you have to be careful who you listen to. And yeah, that was a great answer from Coach Josh as well.